Have you ever wondered why your mind feels like your greatest enemy sometimes? You're going about your day, and suddenly, without warning, a negative thought appears. It whispers that you're not good enough, that you're going to fail, that everything you're doing is pointless. And before you even realize it, that one single thought has multiplied, building a storm of doubt, fear, and frustration in your head. You feel trapped in your own mind, like you're fighting a battle no one else can see. And the worst part? It feels like you've been fighting this battle for years, as if you were born into it, destined to struggle against it forever. But what if I told you that this isn't who you are? What if the war inside your head is not your identity, but just a habit your mind has been repeating? A loop you didn't choose, but one you can break? Negative thinking doesn't come from weakness, it comes from survival. Your brain is wired to keep you safe, but sometimes it mistakes discomfort for danger. The truth is, most of the negative thoughts you think every single day aren't even true. They're echoes of past fears, old voices. They're patterns your mind has memorized like an old song playing in the background of your life. And because they've been playing for so long, they feel real. But they're not. They're just familiar. That voice in your head telling you that you're not enough, it's not you. It's a recording, a memory, a habit. And here's the part no one tells you: habits can be broken. Patterns can be rewritten. You are not stuck. You've just been convinced you are. Right now, you might feel like you're standing in a prison built by your own thoughts. But take a closer look. Those walls? They're made of words. Those bars? They're just beliefs that were handed to you by other people, or by the scared version of yourself from years ago. And the door? It's wide open. The only thing keeping you inside is the belief that you don't deserve to step out. But you do. And the moment you realize that those negative thoughts don't define you, that they're not the truth of who you are, that's the moment you become unstoppable. You stop playing small. You stop letting the past dictate your future. And you start writing a new story, one decision at a time. If you stay with me, you'll learn how to break free. Not by pretending you don't have negative thoughts, but by learning how to see them, how to challenge them, and how to replace them with the kind of power and strength you forgot you had. You'll learn how to stop running from fear and start standing up to it. This isn't about fake motivation, it's about real change. And that change starts with you, right here, right now. Fear isn't just something you feel, it's something you believe. It shows up dressed like truth. It sounds like your own voice, speaking with authority, convincing you that you're not ready, that you'll fail, that you'll embarrass yourself if you try. And because it speaks in your voice, you listen. You accept its warnings like they're facts. But the reality is this: fear is not truth. Fear is just a signal. It's your brain trying to keep you inside the walls of what feels safe. Not what's right, not what's true, just what's familiar. And familiar doesn't mean right. Familiar doesn't mean worthy of your trust. Most of the fear you carry was built by old moments of rejection, old failures, old criticisms that were never about your worth. They were about someone else's pain projected onto you. But you've been carrying that weight as if it belongs to you. It doesn't. Fear feels real because your body reacts to it like it's real. Your heart starts to race, your breathing gets shallow, your muscles tighten, and your mind takes that physical reaction as proof that something must be wrong. But that's not proof of danger, it's proof of habit. Your body is conditioned to react that way because it's been practicing those reactions for years. But what if you could break that cycle? What if you could feel that fear rising and say, "I see you, I know what you are, but I'm not letting you lead me anymore." Because that's the truth. You don't have to follow fear. You don't have to obey it. You don't have to make it your leader anymore. You can feel it and still move. You can feel it and still speak. You can feel it and still live. The people who break free are not the ones who never feel fear. They're the ones who decide fear is not the final voice in their life. They use fear as a signal to prepare, not a reason to stop. Fear doesn't mean you shouldn't do something. It often means you should. It means you're stepping into something new, something bigger than your old self. Something that actually matters. Fear is a compass pointing at your next breakthrough, but only if you refuse to run from it. Only if you choose to walk through it with open eyes, steady breath, and a heart that knows discomfort is not danger, it's growth. Right now, fear might be whispering that this isn't for you, that you can't change, that this is just another video, another moment that will fade when it's over. But I want you to test that voice. I want you to stand up to it, not by fighting it, but by refusing to believe it. Because once you stop letting fear write your story, you step into the version of yourself you were always meant to become. and that version of you is unstoppable. Anger is the emotion that usually follows fear. It arrives when you feel powerless. It shows up when something threatens your sense of control, when someone crosses your boundaries, or when life doesn't go the way you expected. And instead of fear making you freeze, anger makes you fight. But here's the thing no one talks about. Anger is not weakness. It's not evil. It's not proof that you're broken. Anger is energy. It's your mind screaming that something needs to change. The problem is, most of us have never been taught how to use that energy the right way. We either explode and hurt the people around us, or we shove it down, pretending it's not there, and we end up hurting ourselves. Both ways are traps, and both ways keep you stuck in the same cycle of frustration, shame, and regret. But there's another way. Anger doesn't have to be the thing that breaks you. It can be the thing that builds you. Anger is a call to action, not a sentence to destruction. It's your mind and body saying, enough, this isn't right. Something here needs to be different. And when you recognize that, anger stops being your enemy and starts becoming your fuel. You don't have to lose control. You don't have to burn everything down to prove your strength. You can stand in the middle of that storm, take a breath, and choose what happens next. Power doesn't come from shouting louder. Power comes from knowing you could, but choosing not to. It's easy to react. Anyone can explode. Real strength is in restraint. It's in taking that fire inside you and turning it into focus. You've been told that anger means you're out of control. But the truth is, anger means you care. Anger means you're awake. Anger means your heart knows that you deserve better than what you've been tolerating. But it's time to stop wasting that energy on things that don't build you. It's time to stop letting anger control you and start using it to create the life you actually want. Use it to build stronger boundaries. Use it to speak up for yourself. Use it to fuel your discipline when you feel like quitting. Let that fire be the thing that burns down your excuses, not your relationships, not your dreams, not your self-respect. The moment you stop being afraid of your anger is the moment you stop being afraid of your own power. You are not weak because you feel anger. You're human. And inside that emotion is raw strength waiting to be focused, sharpened, and used for something meaningful. The world doesn't need more people who explode in rage or hide in silence. The world needs people who know how to turn their fire into fuel. And that's what you're doing right now. Not tomorrow, not later. Right now, you're waking up to your own strength, and you're never going back to small again. Anxiety is the silent thief that steals your peace before you even notice it's gone. It creeps in like a whisper but feels like a scream inside your chest. It makes your mind race with 1,000 what-ifs, filling you with tension about things that haven't even happened yet. It's like carrying a weight you can't see, a constant buzz of nervous energy that drains your strength and makes you doubt your ability to handle life. But here's the truth. Most people never tell you. Anxiety isn't a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that your mind is trying to protect you from uncertainty. Your brain hates the unknown. It wants control. It wants certainty. And when it doesn't get that, it floods you with anxiety to prepare you for imagined danger. But just because your mind prepares for the worst doesn't mean the worst is coming. Most of what you fear won't happen. And even if it does, you are stronger than you've been led to believe. Anxiety is a liar because it makes you believe that discomfort is the same as danger. It tells you that because you feel nervous, you must be unsafe. But feeling nervous is not the same as being in danger. It's just your nervous system doing its job, getting ready, preparing, sharpening. You don't need to make anxiety disappear to live fully. You need to stop believing that the feeling of anxiety has to control your actions. Anxiety might visit you, but it doesn't get to live in you. It doesn't get to build its home inside your mind. You get to decide who stays and who leaves. You don't fight anxiety by pretending it's not there. You win by standing firm in the storm and choosing to act anyway. Every moment you've ever pushed through something uncomfortable, every challenge you've ever survived, is proof that anxiety doesn't break you. It's loud, it's uncomfortable, but it doesn't have the power to define your future unless you give it permission. And you don't have to. You can feel your heart race and still speak your truth. You can feel that knot in your stomach and still take the next step. You can feel uncertain and still be courageous. Courage isn't the absence of anxiety. It's action in the presence of it. That's real bravery. Doing it anyway. Showing up anyway. Moving forward anyway. This is not about pretending to be fearless. This is about becoming dangerous to the limitations that anxiety has built around you. This is about realizing that your fear of discomfort has kept you smaller than you were meant to be. No more shrinking. No more doubting your ability to handle life. You were not built to break under pressure. You were built to rise under it. You've been carrying anxiety like it's your enemy, but now you're going to use it as proof of your strength. Every anxious thought is one more opportunity to prove to yourself just how powerful you already are. Negative thoughts, fear, anger, anxiety, they all have one thing in common. They want to convince you that you are powerless. They want to shrink you into a version of yourself that stays silent, stays small, stays afraid. But here's the truth. They don't want you to discover you are not powerless. You never have been. You've just been distracted from your strength by noise. Noise from the world, noise from your past, noise from people who didn't see your value, and noise from your own mind that got used to doubting before daring. But underneath that noise is something solid, something unbreakable. It's the part of you that refuses to give up, even on the days you thought you had nothing left. That's the real you, not the voice of doubt, not the weight of old mistakes, not the tension of anxiety. The real you is the one that's still standing, even after everything you faced. You don't break easily, no matter what your mind tries to tell you. You've already proven that. Every challenge you faced up to this point could have defeated you, but it didn't. You're here, you're listening, you're searching for something more. And that's not weakness. That's strength in its rawest form. Weak people don't fight their thoughts. Weak people don't seek growth. Weak people don't even care. But you care. You're here because something deep inside you knows that life is meant to be bigger than the walls you've been living behind. And that's why this is your moment. The moment where you stop believing the lie that says you're stuck. It's time to flip the script. Those negative thoughts aren't predictions, they're habits. Fear isn't a prophecy, it's resistance to change. Anger isn't your enemy, it's your energy waiting for purpose. Anxiety isn't your weakness, it's your mind's signal that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. And comfort zones don't build legends. Comfort zones build cages. You were not born for a cage, you were born to break walls. You were born to take what tried to break you and turn it into the very reason you grow stronger. Every negative thought is a chance to build resilience. Every fearful feeling is a chance to stand taller. Every ounce of anxiety is proof that you're stepping into something that matters. And that matters because you matter. This is not the life you were meant to live. Quiet, afraid, shrinking behind thoughts that don't even belong to you. You were built for more. You deserve more. And that's not just some empty phrase. It's the reason your heart beats a little faster when you imagine who you could become if you stopped holding yourself back. That's your signal. That's your moment. And it's not waiting for you someday far away. It's here. It's now. And the only thing standing between the life you've been dreaming of and the life you're living is your decision to stop believing the lies of limitation. Choose strength. Choose you. Choose now. Your mind is the battlefield where every victory begins. Every negative thought that rises isn't just a passing idea. It's a challenge, a test, a doorway asking you one question. Will you believe this, or will you rise above it? Thoughts don't control you unless you agree with them. Just because a thought appears doesn't mean it deserves your attention. Just because fear speaks doesn't mean it deserves your trust. And just because anxiety knocks doesn't mean it deserves a seat at your table. You are not the thoughts you think. You are the one who notices them. You are the one who chooses which ones stay, which ones leave, and which ones get transformed into power. The power has always been in your hands, even when it didn't feel like it. Even when the storm inside your head felt too loud to think straight, that power was still there, steady, waiting for you to notice. Every negative emotion that tries to rise is just energy waiting for direction. If you don't direct it, it will direct you. And that's why you have to take that responsibility back. You don't have to fight your thoughts like enemies. You have to lead them like a commander. Your mind is waiting for you to take charge. It's waiting for you to stop reacting like a victim and start responding like a leader. When that anxious thought rises, it's not your job to run from it. It's your job to face it and answer it. When fear whispers that you're not good enough, you don't have to argue. You just have to act. Because nothing silences fear faster than action. Every single time you choose action over avoidance, you rewire your brain. You train yourself to become stronger than the voices that tried to control you for so long. And the more you choose courage, the more natural it becomes. It doesn't matter how long you've been stuck in old patterns. It doesn't matter how many times you've doubted yourself before. What matters is what you choose right now. This moment is not defined by your past. This moment is defined by your decision to take authority over your own mind. You don't have to wait to feel ready. You don't have to wait until all your thoughts are positive. You move first. The clarity comes after. The peace comes after. The strength comes after. It's not about perfection. It's about momentum. Choosing to lean into the resistance instead of hiding from it. Choosing to speak life to yourself instead of feeding the lies that have kept you small. The life you want isn't waiting for you to fix everything inside you. It's waiting for you to believe that you can build something even in the middle of the storm. You don't have to be fearless to win. You just have to be willing. You just have to decide that your future matters more than your fear. And that decision starts now. The most powerful shift you will ever make is understanding that you are not at the mercy of your emotions. Your emotions are not rulers, they are signals. They don't control you. They inform you. They rise to alert you, to guide you, to show you what matters to you, but they are not the ones steering the ship. You are. And once you realize that, everything changes. Fear may show up. Anger may rise. Anxiety may try to shake you, but they are just visitors. They don't live here unless you open the door, invite them in, and give them control of your choices. You don't owe them that. You owe yourself more. You owe yourself the life you've been dreaming of. The one you feel in the back of your mind when you imagine what could be possible if you stopped running from discomfort and started standing in it. Discomfort isn't the enemy. Avoiding discomfort is. The people who grow, the people who change, the people who rise, they don't have some magical immunity to fear or doubt. They just stopped believing that fear was a command. They started seeing it for what it is, a message that they're standing at the edge of growth. That's exactly where you are right now, on the edge. And what you do here determines everything that comes next. You don't have to get rid of every negative feeling to move forward. You just have to stop letting those feelings make your decisions. They can talk, but you choose what happens next. They can whisper, but you speak louder, not with noise, but with action. Action is the loudest voice in the room. When you act, you teach your mind that you are no longer owned by hesitation. Every time you act in spite of doubt, you're breaking the old chain that kept you stuck. You've spent enough time waiting for the perfect moment. You've spent enough time letting your emotions push you around like you're a passenger in your own life. No more. You are the driver now, and that means you don't ask for permission to grow. You don't apologize for wanting more. You don't shrink to fit into spaces that don't deserve you. You stand, you act, you speak, you decide. Because this is your life, not your fear's life, not your anxiety's life, not your anger's life. Yours. And if you don't take ownership of it, someone else will. The world is full of voices trying to tell you who to be, what to feel, and how to live. But none of those voices matter more than the one inside you that refuses to quit. That's the voice you listen to now. The one that knows you were built for more than repeating old patterns. The one that knows you didn't survive everything you've been through just to give up now. You've come too far, you've grown too much, and now you lead, not your emotions, you. If you could see how powerful you already are, you wouldn't hesitate for one more second. You wouldn't wait for confidence. You wouldn't wait for approval. You wouldn't wait for life to get easier. You would realize that the version of you you've been dreaming of is not out of reach. It's already here. It's been here underneath the layers of doubt, underneath the habits of hesitation, underneath the noise of fear. The real you isn't broken. The real you is buried, waiting to be uncovered, waiting to be chosen, and the moment you decide to choose that version of yourself, the game changes. Not because everything becomes easy, but because you finally stop working against yourself. You stop making agreements with limitation. You stop saying yes to the lies that have kept you stuck. And you start saying yes to growth, to discipline, to focus, to courage. You've spent enough time rehearsing why it's not possible. Now it's time to start rehearsing why it is. Every single thing you want is going to require you to let go of what's familiar. And that's why fear feels so strong when you get close to a breakthrough. It's not because you're weak. It's because your mind is afraid of letting go of old comfort zones. But comfort zones don't care about your future. They only care about keeping things the same. And the life you deserve isn't built on sameness. It's built on becoming more than who you were yesterday. You don't need to know how the entire journey is going to unfold. You just need to know this. Your first step is the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to go. Everything else will reveal itself in motion. Your emotions will scream for you to stay the same. Your fear will beg you to turn back. But there's another voice, deeper, stronger, older than your fear. It's the voice of your potential, the voice that knows you didn't come this far just to stop here, and that voice deserves your loyalty. Not your fear, not your doubt. Your potential is your responsibility. Your future self is waiting for you to finally decide that nothing, not fear, not anxiety, not the past, not the opinions of others, is going to control the direction of your life. That's yours to decide. There is nothing standing between you and your strength, except the story you've been telling yourself about what's possible. And stories can be rewritten. Stories can be changed, and the story of your life is still being written right now. Every thought, every choice, every action is another sentence, another paragraph, another chapter, and you get to decide whether this is the part of your story where you shrink or the part where you rise. It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about deciding that this moment is right now, right here. This is where your power begins. This is where you choose yourself. There is a strength inside you that fear has never met. It's been buried beneath hesitation, but it's never been broken. Every moment you've doubted yourself was not proof of weakness. It was proof that you were standing in front of something greater than you've ever faced before. Fear doesn't show up when you're playing small. It only rises when you're standing in front of growth. And the reason it feels so loud is because part of you knows what's possible. That's why the struggle feels so intense. That's why your emotions sometimes feel like they're pulling you in every direction at once. But underneath all that noise is you, the real you, the version of yourself that's been through storms, survived setbacks, endured heartbreak, carried burdens in silence, and still kept going. That version of you doesn't back down. That version of you knows that pain is not a wall, it's a door. Most people run when things get hard because they don't realize that difficulty is not the signal to stop. It's the signal that you're breaking through the surface of your old life. Everything you've ever wanted has always been on the other side of discomfort. Fear wants you to stay familiar because familiar feels safe. But familiar also keeps you small. It keeps you stuck in loops of negative thinking, trapped by old stories that say you can't, you won't, or you shouldn't. And none of those stories are real unless you believe them. You don't owe your old stories anything. You don't owe your fear explanations. You don't owe your anxiety excuses. You owe yourself freedom. You owe yourself courage. And that courage is not something you have to wait for, it's something you choose. Courage isn't loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just the quiet decision that says, I'm not backing down this time. Sometimes it's just the steady whisper that says, I deserve better. You don't have to conquer everything overnight. You just have to stop quitting on yourself. Every time you choose to keep going, even if you're afraid, even if your hands are shaking, you are proving to yourself that you are not your doubt. You are not your negative thoughts. You are not your old habits. You are the one rewriting the script in real time. The future is built by those who refuse to surrender to temporary emotions. And that's exactly who you are becoming right now. Someone who doesn't bow to pressure, but rises in the middle of it. Someone who doesn't run from pain, but transforms it into strength. You're not here by accident. You're here because deep down, you know you were made for more than surviving. You were made for rising. And every single second you choose not to give up is one more step into the life you know you deserve. The one where fear doesn't lead you anymore. The one where you finally take back your power. You don't have to be fearless to win. You only have to stop giving fear the final word. Fear might be the first voice you hear, but it doesn't have to be the loudest. Your actions speak louder. Your choices shout louder. Your persistence breaks through the noise of hesitation. Every time you take a step forward when your mind is screaming at you to stay small, you rewrite the meaning of fear. Fear is not a wall anymore. It's a doorway. And you don't wait for doors to open by themselves. You push them open. Even if your hands shake. Even if your voice trembles. Even if every part of you wants to run the other way. You stand there, steady, breathing, deciding that you will not give up on yourself, no matter what. You've seen what happens when you give up. You've felt that weight before, the regret, the heaviness of knowing you didn't give it everything you had, and you know you don't want to go back there. You know that feeling of being stuck, circling the same emotions, trapped by the same excuses? You know that restless frustration, like you're capable of more, but something's been holding you back, that something isn't outside of you. It's not other people. It's not bad luck. It's not the world being unfair. It's been the story you've believed about yourself. And now you know better. Now you can feel that something inside you is waking up. Something is rising that's stronger than fear, stronger than anger, stronger than anxiety. It's your will. It's your decision, and it's been waiting for you to take charge. Nobody can make that choice for you. No one can hand you confidence. No one can deliver courage to your front door. This is your work. This is your responsibility. And the beautiful thing is, you already have what it takes. You don't need to find something new. You need to use what's already inside you. The strength that's been tested, the heart that's been bruised but never broken, the mind that's been weighed down by doubt but never stopped dreaming. That's what you work with. That's how you win. Not by waiting to feel ready, but by acting like you already are. You've been taught to believe that negative thoughts mean something's wrong with you. They don't. They mean you're human. They mean you care. They mean you're standing in front of change. But they don't mean you stop. They don't mean you shrink. They don't mean you sit in silence while your potential walks away. This is the moment you remind yourself that your emotions are visitors, not permanent residents. They can't build your future. You do, with your choices, with your courage, with your refusal to quit. This is the life you claim, step by step, moment by moment, because you choose not to surrender to fear, but to rise in the middle of it. The breakthrough you're chasing isn't out there somewhere in the future. It's already inside you, waiting for permission to unfold. Every excuse you've ever made has been a way to delay that permission. Every negative thought has been a distraction from the truth you already know deep down. You're not here to live small. You're here to stretch, to grow, to face the discomfort and rise above it. You've spent enough time waiting for the right feelings, waiting to feel motivated, waiting to feel strong. But strength doesn't show up before the battle. It's forged inside the fight. It's not about being fearless. It's about standing eye to eye with your fear and saying, I'm moving forward anyway. That's where real confidence is born. Not in perfection, but in persistence. Not in comfort, but in decision. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. Every mistake you've made was a lesson disguised as failure. Every setback you faced was pressure shaping you into someone more powerful. You don't grow by running away. You grow by standing firm. You grow by facing the things that scare you the most and realizing they don't define you unless you let them. Your anxiety is not your identity. Your anger is not your future. Your fear is not the map for your life. Those emotions might rise, but they don't have to rule you. You can feel them and still choose discipline. You can feel them and still move with focus. You can feel them and still build the life you deserve. The truth is, nobody is coming to save you. And that's not a reason to give up. It's the reason to rise. It's the reason to stop waiting and start creating. The life you want isn't built by chance. It's built by choice. Every single thought you choose to believe or reject is a brick in the foundation of your future. If you keep building with doubt, you'll live surrounded by walls of hesitation. But if you start building with courage, even imperfect, messy courage, you'll create a life that fear can't control. The most powerful thing you can ever learn is that your thoughts are not facts, they're habits, and habits can be changed. It starts with the decision to stop agreeing with every negative thought that passes through your mind. You don't have to fight every thought. You just have to stop feeding the ones that don't serve you. Right here, right now, you're writing a new chapter. A chapter where you no longer wait for permission to be great. A chapter where you stop measuring your worth by your emotions and start measuring it by your decisions. You've already survived everything that was meant to break you. Now it's time to build what's meant to free you. This is not the moment to shrink. This is the moment to expand, to choose discipline over doubt, to choose courage over comfort, to choose yourself completely, without apology. You don't get stronger by avoiding discomfort. You get stronger by facing it, breathing through it, learning from it, and refusing to let it shape you into something smaller than who you are meant to be. Your negative thoughts don't make you weak. They make you human. What makes you powerful is your ability to face them and not flinch. What makes you unstoppable is the discipline to keep moving, even with fear whispering in your ear. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to go forward while fear screams in the background. That's what transforms you. That's how you conquer the storm inside your head. You don't negotiate with your excuses. You don't argue with your doubt. You build a new life by outgrowing it, by focusing on action, not feelings. Thoughts may lie. Actions don't. You've been held back long enough by the idea that you need to feel ready to act, that you need the perfect mindset before you can take the next step. That's not how change works. Change happens when you take action before you feel like it. The feelings come later. Confidence grows after the decision is made, not before. Waiting for the perfect mood is how years pass by in hesitation, how dreams shrink, how goals fade into regret. But you're not here for that. You're not here to play small with your life. You're here because something inside you knows it's time to stop running from yourself. It's time to stop making excuses for the life you don't want and start building the life you deserve. Your mind will keep offering you doubt, but you don't have to accept it. Your emotions will try to convince you that you're not enough, but you don't have to believe them. Every step forward you take is an act of rebellion against the part of you that wants to quit. Every single choice to keep moving, even when it's uncomfortable, is you proving to yourself that you are greater than your fear. You don't defeat fear by hoping it disappears. You defeat fear by refusing to let it decide who you become. You don't have to control every thought. You don't have to control every feeling. You just have to control your next decision. One decision at a time, you build strength. One disciplined choice after another, you build confidence. One brave step after another, you build a life that feels like freedom, not survival. The life you deserve is already within reach, not because someone else gave it to you, but because you chose not to surrender. You chose to stop living by accident and start living by design. Fear might show up, but it doesn't get to win here. Anger might rise, but it won't define you here. Anxiety might echo in your mind, but it doesn't get to write the story of your life. You do, and you're just getting started. The hardest battle you'll ever fight is not with the world around you. It's with the voice inside your head. That quiet, constant whisper telling you you're not good enough, that you'll fail again, that your dreams are too big for someone like you. But here's the truth most people never learn. That voice is not reality. It's just a habit. A worn-out loop of old beliefs and past pain, playing over and over, hoping you'll mistake it for truth. But you don't have to accept it. You don't have to make it your identity. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that hears those thoughts. And the moment you recognize that, you take your power back. You start realizing that you have the authority to decide which thoughts you follow and which ones you leave behind. That's not motivation, that's ownership. Most people live their entire lives letting their thoughts boss them around. They feel doubt, so they stop. They feel afraid, so they wait. They feel overwhelmed, so they shrink. But you're not here to follow that pattern. You're here to break it. You're here to build a new pattern, a new standard, a new identity. And it starts with one choice, refusing to let your feelings run your life. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel tired and still take action. You can feel uncertain and still stand tall. It's not about erasing your feelings. It's about learning to act with them, not for them. It's about doing what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. Because that's how you grow into the kind of person you respect. Discipline is not punishment, it's freedom. Freedom from the grip of every old excuse that used to keep you stuck. Freedom from the weight of regret that used to hold you down. Freedom from the exhausting cycle of starting, stopping, and giving up on yourself. You break that cycle when you stop asking your feelings for permission to live your life. You don't need permission anymore. You don't need approval anymore. You don't need the perfect conditions, or the perfect mood, or the perfect version of yourself to begin. You just need a decision, right here, right now. A decision that says, I've had enough of waiting. I've had enough of shrinking. I've had enough of letting fear build my life for me. It's my turn to take the lead. The life you want isn't out there somewhere waiting for you to deserve it. It's waiting for you to choose it, to build it one hard choice at a time, to stop making excuses for why you can't and start building reasons why you will. You don't have to feel brave to be brave. You don't have to feel strong to get stronger. Every step forward you take builds the future you deserve. And that future starts right now, with you, standing in your own power, choosing to rise. You've carried the weight of your own doubt long enough. Every step you take now is about releasing that burden, not because it's easy, but because you've decided that you deserve more than a life controlled by fear. Fear is clever. It disguises itself as caution, as logic, as reason. It sounds like it's trying to protect you, but it's been trapping you in the same small life over and over again. You weren't born to live small. You were born to take up space, to speak with conviction, to walk into every room like you belong there, because you do. No more apologizing for wanting more. No more shrinking to make others comfortable. No more pretending that your dreams don't matter. They matter because you matter. And your future will be built by what you choose to believe about yourself today. The greatest freedom you'll ever experience is not when fear disappears, but when you stop believing it controls you. You take that freedom every time you stop giving your energy to negative thoughts that don't serve you. The brain is built to protect you, to avoid danger, to keep you safe, but it doesn't always know the difference between real danger and imagined danger. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being seen for who you really are, that's not life-threatening. That's growth-threatening. And your job is to recognize that difference and move anyway. You don't conquer fear by waiting for it to get smaller. You conquer it by making decisions that are bigger than it. You win by deciding that your dreams matter more than your doubts. The only way to get stronger is to meet your fear with action. Not thoughts, not words, action. Fear is loud, but it's powerless when you keep showing up anyway. Your future self is already watching you, waiting for you to make that move you've been avoiding, waiting for you to stop settling for the version of life that fits inside your comfort zone, waiting for you to stop choosing easy and start choosing growth. Every moment you hesitate is another moment where nothing changes. But the second you move, the second you decide to push forward no matter how uncomfortable it feels, that's when everything begins to shift. The people who build lives they're proud of are not the people who never felt afraid. They're the people who moved through the fear. They got up when they didn't want to. They spoke up when their voice shook. They stood tall when everything inside them wanted to shrink. And that same strength is in you. It always has been. Your mind will try to convince you you're not ready, but being ready is a choice, not a feeling. Right now, you can choose to stop rehearsing failure in your mind and start practicing power. Start practicing courage. Start practicing the version of you who doesn't run anymore. The one who builds, no matter how afraid they are. Everything you want begins the moment you stop searching for permission to be powerful. No one is going to hand you confidence. No one is going to arrive and remove your doubts for you. The truth is, confidence isn't given. It's earned. Earned in the quiet moments when you decide to show up anyway. Earned in the uncomfortable choices when you take the harder path because you know deep down you deserve better. Confidence is not an emotion you wait for. It's a muscle you build. And like any muscle, it grows through repetition, through challenge, through effort, through discomfort. Every time you show up when it's hard, you are stacking evidence for yourself. Evidence that you are not the person your fears told you you were. Evidence that you are far more powerful than you ever realized. Negative thoughts don't define you. They're just thoughts. But actions define character. Actions shape identity. When you move anyway, despite the doubt, you start proving to yourself that you are not fragile. You are resilient. You are adaptable. You are a builder of your own destiny. Negative thoughts can only win if they get you to stop moving. But the moment you act, you break their grip. You create a new experience that begins rewriting the story you've been living in. Maybe you've been living in the story of not being enough, of always being behind, of thinking your best days were somewhere far away. That story ends the moment you decide to tell a new one. Not by thinking about it, not by talking about it, by doing something about it. Taking the smallest action in the face of negativity is a declaration of war against every excuse that's been holding you down. Your brain loves patterns. It loves what's familiar. Even if that familiar pattern is self-doubt, your mind will cling to it because it's what it knows. But the moment you begin a new pattern, choosing progress over comfort, discipline over excuses, courage over avoidance, you start breaking that old identity apart. And every small win is another crack in the wall that's been separating you from your potential. This isn't about motivation. Motivation comes and goes. This is about discipline. This is about deciding that you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of feeling small, tired of waking up every day with a weight on your chest, wondering why life hasn't changed yet. It hasn't changed because you haven't yet fully decided to change it. This is that moment. This is the line in the sand. Every action you take from this moment forward is either building the future you want or reinforcing the limits you no longer need. Fear will whisper. Doubt will whisper. But your actions will scream. Your actions will tell the real story of who you are. And when you stop waiting for permission and start writing that story with your choices, you'll realize you were never powerless. You were just waiting for the courage to act like it. The real battle is not out there. It's in your mind. Every single day, you are at war with the stories you've been told, the lies you've believed, the fears you've collected over the years. And the longer you sit in silence with those thoughts, the louder they seem to get. But here's the truth no one tells you. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. You are the one who chooses which thoughts to believe, which ones to ignore, and which ones to turn into action. That's where your freedom is. That's where your strength is. Your thoughts don't control you unless you hand them the keys. You've done it before, haven't you? Let a small thought turn into a storm that kept you stuck for days, weeks, even years. But the moment you realize you don't have to accept every thought that walks into your mind, you begin to build the life you actually deserve. Fear will always be there. It's not going to disappear. Fear isn't your enemy, it's just a signal. It's your mind telling you that you're stepping into something unfamiliar. But unfamiliar doesn't mean unsafe. It doesn't mean you're going to fail. It doesn't mean you're not capable. It simply means you're growing beyond who you used to be. And growth never feels comfortable. That's why most people stay small, not because they aren't capable, but because they don't want to feel discomfort. They want certainty, but certainty doesn't build strength. Challenge does. Pressure does. And every time you lean into that discomfort, you are proving to yourself that you're not here to live a life of smallness.